I let my sister stay in my $940,000 house, paid $2,800 bills, babysat for free. At her birthday, she said, "He's emotionally useless since '98, then toasted, to the new owner." That night, I found her transfer form. I whispered, "Bold move." By morning, every bill, every login, every link, gone. Sent straight to legal. Next morning, she found a document taped to my door. Let's just say, it wasn't a note. "You know what your problem is," my sister Emily said, swirling a champagne flute like she owned the place. "You've been emotionally useless since '98. The room fell silent. Then she raised her glass. To the new owner. Laughter. Laughter from people I'd fed. Housed. Helped. My aunt clinked glasses with her like it was a wedding toast. My mother just smiled with tight lips. Dad? He leaned back in the chair I bought and muttered, "Told you he couldn't handle jokes." What they didn't know was this. I wasn't shocked. Not anymore. I was furious, yes. But underneath that? Calm. Because I already knew. I knew about the email Emily forgot to delete. I knew about the transfer of ownership form left on my printer. I knew about the phone call she made to my lawyer, pretending to be me. So when she toasted to the new owner, I didn't flinch. I just whispered, "Bold move." Then I excused myself from the table, walked into my office, and pressed send. Within seconds, my systems began the purge. Every login, every bill, every account. Gone. Unlinked. Transferred. The digital house of cards they built on my generosity? I pulled the bottom one out with surgical precision. At 6 a.m. the next morning, Emily found a document taped to the front door. Legal letterhead. My name in bold. Let's just say, it wasn't a note. You might think this is where the story ends. It's not. It's where it begins. Because this didn't start with the house. It started with everything they took before it. Years of just-for-now arrangements. Decades of free labor and invisible sacrifices. They thought I'd always be their emotional doormat. But they forgot one thing. I'm the door now. I didn't always have a $940,000 house. I earned it. Every square inch, every bill paid, every login, mine. But the second the paint dried on the walls, my sister Emily moved in like it was her birthright. "It's temporary," she said. "That guest room's just collecting dust. You have all this space. What's the big deal?" The big deal? She never left. At first, I told myself it was fine. I was the older brother. She was struggling after the divorce. I had a stable job in cybersecurity. I could afford to float her, a little. But a little turned into everything. She moved in with nothing. No bed. No plates. I furnished her room, gave her access to the smart home system, even added her name to the grocery deliveries. Then the bills started to grow. $2,800 a month utilities, water, HOA, trash, security, lawn, childcare. Because yes, I babysat. For free. I work remote. She used that as a reason. You're here anyway. Think of it as bonding time with your niece. I bonded. While she got her nails done. Spa Saturdays. Networking brunches that were just Prosecco-fueled gossip fest with her friends who called me the help behind my back. I know because I heard it. Through the baby monitor she forgot to unplug. Still, I didn't push. I believed people when they said family helps family. What they meant was, family helps until you bleed. Then laughs when you fall. It got worse after the second job Emily tried. She got fired from a co-working startup. Not her fault, of course. Toxic workplace. Unreasonable hours. Then came the third job, ghostwriting for influencers. Lasted 2 weeks. Then she needed space to find her purpose. Guess where she found it? On my couch. I paid for her therapy, her Wi-Fi, her Uber account. She had the nerve to Venmo request me $16.79 for kids' snacks while I was on a business call with a Fortune 500 client. And when I tried to bring it up, "Oh my God, you're keeping a ledger now? Relax. You don't have kids. This is your version of giving back. You're not even using that room downstairs." Then she crossed a line even I hadn't predicted. I woke up one Saturday to find her in my office, using my credentials to access my tax folders. I asked what she was doing. She looked me dead in the eye and said, "Trying to figure out what you really make. You're hiding something. No way you afford all this on salary." She said it like a joke. But she wasn't joking. 2 days later, I got a call from my bank. Someone had tried to update my account information. The call came from my own home IP address. That was when I installed cameras. That's when I found out everything. Late at night, after I went to bed, she used my office to hold Zoom calls with real estate agents. Not for herself, for my house. She listed it. My house. Without my consent. With an unofficial document she mocked up she made in Canva. Canva. I would have laughed, but I was too stunned. I watched her tell some guy from Compass Realty he's checked out emotionally. This home deserves a new story. A new owner. That's where that birthday toast came from. She was already laying the groundwork to take everything. And the rest of them? My parents? They let her. My mom, the professional enabler. Always saying, let's not fight. Always smiling at birthdays while Emily tore me down. My dad, not just silent, he cheered. He once told me, you should be grateful you have something to give. He said that after I handed him a $5,000 check to pay off Emily's credit card debt. A debt she got from buying a Louis Vuitton diaper bag. Her kid isn't even potty trained. They didn't see me as a brother or a son. They saw me as leverage. When I finally started saying no, the smear campaign began. First, family group chat. Alex has been distant. He's not well. Then, maybe he's depressed? Someone should check on him. Then came the lie that broke me. Emily posted a selfie with my niece and wrote, some people disappear when it's hard. Others show up. Be the second type of person. I was upstairs when she posted that, feeding her kid while she got her brows laminated. I knew what I had to do. I opened the drawer in my office, pulled out the flash drive I kept for years. Every payment, every login, every timestamp. I even had voice memos. She once left me a voicemail crying, please cover utilities this month, just this once. She said she'd move out next month. That was 19 months ago. I downloaded everything to the drive. The false listings, the Zillow drafts, the Canva files, the messages she forgot to delete, screenshots of her telling her friend, if I play my cards right, this house is mine. That was the night before her birthday. I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. I sat in that chair and read every receipt of betrayal like it was scripture. By sunrise, I had a new folder, password protected, shared with my lawyer, titled Exhibit A, Family. Her birthday party wasn't supposed to be a war zone. Not in her mind, anyway. Emily thought it would be her moment. Her cake. Her fake friends. Her curated life. She didn't know I was coming. And she didn't know I wasn't coming alone. When I stepped onto the patio, plates clattered. It was one of those perfectly staged backyard scenes. String lights, overpriced catering, white linen on rented tables. Emily stood at the head of the table like she was hosting the Oscars. I walked in wearing black. No smile. Just presence. Oh, she said, loud enough for everyone to hear. The house ghost speaks. Laughter. Nervous glances. Then she raised her glass. Since 1998, he's been emotionally unavailable, she smirked. But he still pays the bills. The crowd chuckled. To the new owner. They clinked glasses. I let them. I walked up to the main table, placed a small black folder in front of her, and said, calmly, Happy birthday, Emily. She blinked. Looked down. What's this? A cease and desist. Almost. She opened it. First page, the false listing she made for my house. Second, an email from her to a real estate agent claiming she had full legal control. Third, the forged transfer of ownership form with my faked signature. Fourth, the legal report from my lawyer. Highlighted words, fraudulent activity in bold. I didn't say a word. I let the pages talk. Then came the voice from behind me. I can confirm all of it. Emily froze. Jake stepped forward. Her ex. He looked clean, calm, but he held his own folder. My name's Jacob Thorne. I dated Emily Harris for 11 months. During that time, she manipulated me into co-signing loans, opening shared accounts, and giving her access to my personal passwords. He opened his folder, began pulling out printed screenshots. She made fake messages from her brother to justify her behavior. She used edited voicemails, fabricated evidence. I kept everything. I didn't come here for revenge. I came for truth. Her wine glass hit the ground. Someone gasped. Jake continued. Here's a transcript of the audio file she made to ruin her brother. Listen to the cuts. Different tone. Wrong timestamps. It's spliced together. Badly. I took out a small Bluetooth speaker from my pocket. Clicked play. A mechanical voice filled the patio. You're. Cut. Nothing to me. Cut. I've always hated you. Choppy. Obvious. This, Jake said, is what she tried to use against him. This is how far she went. Emily's eyes were wide now. Her hands trembled. No, this is taken out of context, she shouted. I turned to her. The context is your folder labeled FAM on the hard drive. You know, the one you forgot to unplug. Murmurs now. People shifting in their seats. And since you like surprises, I said, here's another one. I pulled out a final document. Printed on legal letterhead. Revocation of tenancy and digital access. Effective immediately, all access Emily had to my home. Smart locks, internet, bank links gone. A notarized eviction with 72-hour notice. Pre-approved by my attorney. Sent to the county that morning. Already filed. You forged my name to take a house you didn't pay for. You built lies from sound bites and screenshots. You made me the villain in your movie. I leaned closer. Now I'm writing the final scene. Jake wasn't done. This isn't just about him. She did it to me. To her old roommate. To her last boss. He turned to the crowd. She's not misunderstood. She's calculated. Get out. Emily screamed. Funny, I said. That's exactly what the court order says. Dad stood up then. Loud, blustering, red in the face. That's enough. You're humiliating your sister on her birthday. What kind of man are you? I turned. Locked eyes. The kind who pays the bills while you sit back and drink my scotch. The kind who paid off your debts too, remember? He flinched. Mom finally spoke, her voice shaking. You didn't have to do this here. I did, I replied. Because you only hear me when others are watching. There was silence. A long, delicious silence. Emily stormed off into the house. Jake handed me a flash drive. She tried to ruin both of us. Now she can sit with the consequences. I pocketed it. Thank you. As I walked toward the gate, I turned back once. By the way, I said to my father, since you co-signed Emily's old loan using my address, check your email. The bank's been notified. Fraud is tricky like that. Then I looked at the guests. Next time you toast to the new owner, maybe ask who actually owns the deed. And I walked out. No one followed. No one clapped. No one said a single word. But that night, the locks changed. The passwords were reset. The legal firm confirmed receipt of all evidence. And the next morning, Emily found a second document taped to the door. It wasn't a note. It was the final warning. After that night, I didn't say a single word. Not to her. Not to them. No angry text. No warning calls. No late-night essays about boundaries or trauma or healing. I just began disconnecting. The first thing to go was the electricity account. Then the Wi-Fi. Then the smart lock access she used through her phone. Then the Amazon Prime. Then the shared grocery subscriptions. The thermostat app. The bank authorizations. Click. 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 It was like quietly unscrewing the bolts from a stolen vehicle while the thief was still inside. I didn't announce anything. That would have been a performance. I wasn't trying to make a scene. I was cleaning house. 2 days after the birthday debacle, I got a call from our HOA manager, Danielle, someone Emily used to talk down to like she was beneath her. She left the keys in the lockbox, she said plainly. Took her stuff and 2 kids. That's it. Didn't even say goodbye. I checked the cameras that evening, out of curiosity. The living room was empty. A throw blanket still crumpled on the couch where her daughter used to nap. A sippy cup under the table. But no sound. No mess. No demands. Just quiet. Then I checked the other address. My parents' house. There it was. Her car. Parked halfway onto the lawn like she still didn't think rules applied to her. She had moved in with him. I stared at the footage. My mother in a robe, arms crossed. My father pacing near the porch light, talking with his hands. And Emily, slumped, messy bun, toddler on her hip, baby bag falling off her shoulder. They weren't welcoming her. They were bracing themselves. She thought she lost a house. She was about to learn what it meant to lose leverage. Now they'd get to experience what I had. The late bills. The emotional outbursts. The passive-aggressive guilt when the money didn't show up on time. They thought they inherited a victim. They inherited a burden they weren't ready for. Meanwhile, I sat in my kitchen, making tea. Same cup I'd used since college. Same kettle she once called pathetic. The silence felt like revenge without the mess. Not a single person to clean up after. Not a single baby monitor echoing through the hallway at 3 a.m. No noise. No pretending. Then came the voicemails. My mother first. Her voice all cracked glass sincerity. She's just overwhelmed, sweetheart. She didn't mean any of it. We were all just under pressure. Please call me. Then another. Your father's upset too. He just doesn't know how to say it. Don't punish the kids. Then one more. She's still your sister. I didn't delete them, but I didn't listen to the end either. I archived them all under a folder labeled unanswered. filed beneath the one titled, Debt Paid in Full. The only message from my father came 3 days later. Short, cold. You've made your point. Enough. No greeting. No name. As if we were rivals in a chess game, and this was his formal resignation. Emily texted, finally, at 2:14 a.m. I don't expect you to forgive me. The kids miss you. That one made me pause. Just for a second. But I didn't respond. Let her explain to her kids why their uncle doesn't visit anymore. Let her lie again. I wouldn't correct her. Let the truth grow teeth in silence. No videos. No blog post. No dramatic legal update. Just cold execution of boundaries they thought I wasn't capable of enforcing. I changed all the passwords. Closed the spare card I gave her for emergencies. Changed the locks. Updated the trust with my lawyer to exclude anyone sharing my last name. I didn't make noise. I became the lock they couldn't pick. A week passed. Then two. One afternoon, an envelope slid under my door. No stamp. Hand-delivered. I opened it cautiously. Inside, just a folded piece of paper with 7 words, scribbled in my sister's handwriting. If I beg, will you listen now? I folded it twice. Placed it in the back of a drawer I rarely open. No, Emily. I won't. This wasn't punishment. This was subtraction. She had been evicted from my space, but more importantly, from my story. And stories, unlike houses, don't have guest rooms. The next time I checked the cameras, her car was gone. She wasn't at my parents' anymore. I don't know where she went. I didn't care. Let her wander. Let her rebuild. But not here. Not ever again. The house stayed quiet. So did I. And for the first time since 1998, I didn't feel like I owed anyone an explanation for that. I found the box by accident. It was buried in the back of my storage closet, behind old tax folders and a box of Ethernet cables. I hadn't opened it since the day I moved in. I knew exactly what was inside. That's why I had avoided it. The lid stuck for a moment before giving way with a tired creak, like the box itself didn't want to be opened. Inside, a tangle of papers, yellowing envelopes, faded photos, pieces of a family I no longer claimed. At the top sat a letter, still sealed. My name was written on the front in my father's handwriting. Block letters. Sharp. Cold. It had been in that box for over a decade. He once gave it to my mother and told her, "Give this to him when he's old enough to understand." I guess I was finally old enough. I held it for a minute. Maybe 2. Part of me still wondered if it held something human. Something redeeming. An apology. A confession. A scrap of softness that might explain everything. But the weight in my chest told me the truth. He never wrote apologies. Only justifications. I opened it. It started with one line. I never wanted a son. I stood still. There it was. Not shouted in a drunken fight. Not muttered in anger. Written. On paper. Permanent. He went on about legacy. About duty. About how I'd always been soft and too sentimental to carry the Harris name forward. He called my childhood a tax he paid. He said I was lucky he provided anything at all. He ended the letter with, "If you ever make something of yourself, don't thank me. I didn't do it for you." He signed it, folded it neatly, and left it behind like a final slap. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just walked to the kitchen, picked up the matches I kept for candles, grabbed a metal mixing bowl, walked outside. The sky was orange. The wind was still. No neighbors. No noise. I struck the match, dropped it onto the letter. It flared instantly. Years of silence, resentment, confusion, all burning in a perfect circle. I dropped it in the bowl and watched it crumble. Then the photos. The family portrait from 2002, my hand on Dad's shoulder. Fake smiles. I burned it. The birthday card from my sister that said, "You're the best brother when we need you." Burned. A receipt for the car I bought my father before he mocked me in front of our relatives. Gone. Page by page. Memory by memory. Not because I hated them. Because they were never mine to begin with. They didn't raise me. They used me. And I had finally stopped allowing it. When the last scrap of ash curled and died, I dumped the bowl in the bin. Closed the lid. And for the first time in my life, there was nothing left to explain. No more evidence to keep. No more ties to hide behind. No more legacy to carry. They gave me nothing I wanted. So I gave it back in flame. This wasn't revenge. This was freedom.